Hello, welcome to your practice. My name is Leanne Matullo, and I am so very honored to be sharing this space with you. This is my practice space. I would love to see yours as we continue on with our connection together throughout these videos and then maybe beyond. Today, we're going to be working through a movement practice to support you in your hip and your pelvic pain. And I will share, very candidly that at the time of recording these videos, I am about 7 months postpartum. And I too have some pretty significant hip pain. So you might see me favoring certain sides. And I also experienced significant hip and pelvic pain during both of my pregnancies, which really kind of led me down this path of exploring it further for not only myself, but for those that I support in a yoga therapy capacity. What we know from a yoga therapy perspective is that pain is not solely physical. It is a physical manifestation that, of course, we feel and is very real in the body. But so many reasons why pain becomes chronic has nothing to do with a diagnosis and everything to do with the other layers of our well-being, which is known as the kosha model. Kosha means layer, and there is 5 of them in a yoga therapy tradition. I actually go into this deeper. I go into all different types of pain, manifestations of pain, sensations, a lot of conversation in the accompanying video that is more of a conversation, a little bit more of a podcast style that I would love you to listen to because it's going to inform these practices. So I'll leave it there. It's really, really important. I can't stress it enough that you listen to that video. Maybe you're walking the dog, or maybe you're doing your laundry or making dinner. Please listen to that because it will put these practices into more context and will really support your experience that much further. But for now, let's go ahead and get into our movement practice. So you don't need props really for this. You might want to have a folded up blanket nearby just in case your knees get uncomfortable. So we're going to start in child's pose. You're going to bring the big toes to touch and the knees as wide as is comfortable for you before you start to walk down into your balasana. Okay, so the forehead might hit the earth, it might not. And if at any point this is too much and you want to stack the palms on top of each other and drop the forehead down, you can do that. You want to make the hands into fists and bring the forehead down, you can do that. That's going to be less pressure on the hips and on the pelvis, maybe even on the heart space. You might even want to slide a blanket underneath of the knees to support the knees, typically postpartum. And oftentimes during the latter half of pregnancy, the knees can become very tender. And all I want you to do for a moment is tune into your breathing and see if you can really expand the belly as you inhale. And then let the belly soften as you exhale. Inhaling to expand the belly. And exhaling to soften. And as we practice this, what's happening is that we're also relaxing the muscles of the pelvic floor. We're allowing them to release their contraction if they are contracting. And you may not even know it if they are. One more round of breath, just like that. And then as you're ready, inhale, start to come up into your tabletop. Take your time. Bring your hands underneath of your shoulders and your knees are going to come underneath of your hips. And all we're going to do is cycle through some really gentle cat-cows here. But before we go anywhere, draw the shoulders back so you can create more space in between the shoulders and the ears. So you have a nice long neck here. As you tuck the toes, draw the heart forward for your cow pose. Rather than dropping the belly significantly down, we just want to pull the heart forward. And then as you exhale, untuck the toes, press into the hands, and round through your back for cat. And cycle through this really at your own pace. So a lot of times in yoga, it's like we wait for someone to tell us what to do. And I really want these very brief, short practices to be more of an exploration of your body, of what works, what doesn't. So all I ask is that you move with the breath, because the breath is going to be so crucial to releasing any sort of tension, that can lead to uncomfortable sensation, to states of dis-ease throughout the body, and then for this practice, particularly in the hips and in the pelvis. So maybe one more round. And then finding your way back to a neutral position, noticing that the belly sometimes gets really heavy if you happen to have a baby in your belly. So draw the mid back up. And then if you're postpartum, you can even just gently touch the belly and lightly engage it. So we're not like really significantly contracting, we're just lightly engaging the core. And then release the hands down. Now from this position, we're going to start to take some big hip circles, or little, actually. Let's go there. So you might start with some smaller hip circles, and you're really starting to feel into where the femur bone, okay, femur bone of the leg starts to insert into what's called the acetabulum of the pelvis. And for a lot of us, this is where some discomfort can start to arise around that attachment. In the accompanying video, I also talk about the pelvis. You get a little tutorial. It's very fun. So I highly, again, recommend that you take a look at that. And then go ahead and move in the opposite direction, breathing the whole time. Deep breaths as you move through the pelvis, nice and easy, nice and smooth. And then eventually finding your neutral position. If the knees have shifted, which mine certainly have, go ahead and bring them back underneath of the hips. Adjust the hands. If you need to roll out through the wrist for a moment, you can do that because we're going to stay in this tabletop position. If you happen to be pregnant during these videos, this is actually a really good position for baby positioning as well. So coming back to all fours, we're going to take the right toes back behind us and keep the right ball of the foot on the earth. It's going to be a nice stretch for the foot. You can even take the heel towards the earth. That'll be a stretch for the calf. And maybe this is the place where you live right now, okay? If you have significant pelvic pain, we actually want to stay here. Draw the navel just slightly back. If you're postpartum, if you're pregnant, draw the mid back up, okay? Hug baby in with the breath. And then test this out. See if you can start to lift the right foot, really any amount, not higher than the hip. And just notice if you feel any sensation in the pelvis. Spiral the elbow creases forward, long neck. Breathe here. And if you feel pain, all you're going to do is take those toes back down. And if you want more in this position, you can even reach that left arm forward. Okay, so you choose your own adventure in your practice. If it's okay to keep the leg lifted, pause here. Maybe you too want more of a challenge. You want to lift the left arm in your spinal balance. Just another breath wherever we are. And we're all going to take the left hand to the earth, the right toes to the earth. Now, from here, we're going to start to move into some hip work, some hip circles. So you're going to draw that knee towards the right wrist. You're not rounding the spine. Knee comes out to the side, and then it lifts up any amount to the sky as you start to bring it back forwards. Now, if there's lots of pain happening, you're going to keep this lower. The big thing that we want to ensure is that we're pressing into the fingers, pressing into the whole hand. Go ahead and reverse the movement of the leg. And that the upper body is staying quiet. It's actually not moving a whole bunch. Good. Now from here, take those right toes back behind you. You're going to start to slide the leg out to the left side, or excuse me, right side. Right sole of the foot can come to the earth. And now this is kind of funky. You're going to start to heel toe your foot. All right, heel toe your foot all the way to the outside of your right hand. Okay, it's just a little bit of a more gentler way to get into Anjana Asana. Walk your left leg back just a bit, untuck the left toes, and start to reach the arms up to the sky. So here we are in Anjana Asana, soften the shoulders. Breathe deep. Press into the top of your left foot. And then start to sweep the arms back behind you really slowly, interlacing the fingers. Keep lengthening your tailbone down. And if you can't interlace the fingers, that's fine. You can always reach the arms back behind you or find a strap. Interlacing the fingers. And then if you can, if it feels okay, you can start to straighten through the elbows and lift the chest as you lengthen tailbone down. So we're not doing this big tailbone arching, heart arching, right? Tailbone lengthens down, heart lifts. Can you soften your jaw here? And maybe you smile. And we're gently going to start to release that. Reach the arms up to the sky. Maybe look at the thumbs, nice and gentle. And then as you exhale, bring the hands all the way down on the inside of that foot. Again, heel toe that foot back out to the side. Maybe extend the legs. So you're in a little bit of internal rotation, breath in. And then as you exhale, sweep that right leg back behind, toes stay on the ground the whole time, and then draw the knee back down. Good. Start to sit back on the heels. You can interlace the fingers if you'd like, and just begin to roll out through the wrists. And now we're going to take this on the other side. So you're going to start to bring the hands back out in front. Begin to take the left toes back behind you. Again, if there is what's called symphysis pubis, if there's sciatica, if there's pelvic pressure, you want to keep that left foot down. Maybe to make this more challenging, if you'd like, you can reach the right arm forward. For everyone, we hug either baby in if we're pregnant, or we gently hug the navel in if we're postpartum. We're not squeezing, we're not contracting, it's gentle. If you have the space and you want to float the left leg any amount, just not higher than the hip, if you want to float the right arm, you can play with this. And see if you can really lengthen your breath. The moment at which the breath becomes shorter, contracted, tighter, we actually want to back off, especially if we're working to support pain. Another breath, and then gently everything's going to come down, hand down, toes down, and we're going to start to work into those hip circles. So we're going to draw the knee towards the left wrist, no rounding in the upper body, come out to the side, and then lift any amount. And so this is the side that I really favor. I don't have as much of a range of motion in this side postpartum. And I just say that because sometimes I think yoga teachers, there's this thought, go ahead and reverse the motion, that they don't feel pain or something, as if we didn't get into this because we wanted to support our own bodies, right? And that we really all are human. Okay, beginning to take the left toes back behind you. We're going to start to slide the left leg all the way out to the side. So the whole sole of the foot comes down, a little bit of internal rotation. And then begin to heel toe that foot. Take your time. So it's really nice to kind of activate different parts of the foot here. Left foot's going to come to the outside of the left hand. Walk the right leg back just a little bit so you're not on top of the knee, and begin to climb up into your Anjana Asana, reaching the arms up to the sky. Soften the shoulders. Smooth out the breath. Anjana in yogic and Hindu mythology was a mother goddess. She was the mother of Hanuman, and I love to honor her in these practices that are working with the mothers. Staying in your Anjana Asana, start to sweep the arms back behind you, lengthen the tailbone down, and find the interlace of the fingers as you begin to open up through the chest. So you can straighten out the elbows or not, lift the heart, lengthen the tailbone, press down into the top of your right foot. And if at any moment any of this becomes too much, you can lift up out of it. You can bring the hands down on the inside of the foot. This is your time. Good. Inhale, both arms are going to lift back up to the sky as you release. Inhale. Exhale, the hands come down on the inside of that foot. Start to heel toe the left toes out to the side, nice and slow. Come into that internal rotation, whole foot down, and then begin to press into the hands and slide the left foot all the way back behind you. And then start to bring the knee down. Really nice. Sit back in your child's pose, big toes to touch. Flip the palms to face up as the forehead surrenders to the earth. And notice the breath. As you inhale, begin to lift the chest. We're going to make our way to a seated position. So to do that, I recommend, particularly if we're working with hip pain, to bring the hips to one side and then to come all the way around to a seated position. Okay. If you want to sit on a prop, I have a block. If you have a pillow, you can totally do that. It actually might feel really nice on the hips to have the hips a little bit, or excuse me, the knees a little bit lower than the pelvis. Okay. So let's move through some twists to start to cool down from this mini practice. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky, full breath in. And as you exhale, I'll mirror you. Bring the left hand towards the opposite thigh. Right hand can come back behind you and start to twist from the upper body. So navel's going to stay forward. Think about twisting from the mid back, the shoulders, the neck, the head. Breathe into the back of the heart. And on your next inhale, unraveling, reach the arms back up to the sky again. Soften the jaw, maybe smile. And exhale, opposite direction. Right hand can come towards the opposite knee or the thigh. Think about twisting from mid back, upper back, shoulders, neck, and then finally the head, and the navel will stay forward. And inhale to move back through your center, reach the arms up to the sky. As you exhale, bring the hands in prayer towards the heart, and then take the left palm right on top of the heart, and the right palm is going to come on top. Lengthen your tailbone down, maybe bow the chin just slightly. And take a moment to honor the heart. And as you breathe here, I want you to ask yourself, is there anything I am resisting right now? Resisting during my pregnancy, during my postpartum, my motherhood journey, myself, relationship, my job. Is there anything that I'm resisting right now? And maybe it's not quite a yes or no answer. Maybe the answer arises, but I invite you to explore the what. What might I be resisting? Because if you are here, there is a likelihood there is a resistance somewhere in your life that is taking up physical space in the body. And so as you're ready, go ahead and blink the eyes open, releasing the hands, maybe the palms to face up. Breath in, breath out. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me, for sharing this time with me. I have another video for you that I hope you take a watch and enjoy your movement through. If you have any questions, send me an email, send me a DM on social media, send me a picture. I would love for you to share your practice and share what you're doing. I so appreciate you. Take good care.